in the 70s, when I went to the cinema, and I just was transported to a different, whether it was a space film, a horror film, a comedy, romance, whatever it was. I just went on I escaped life, and I think right now we need a bit of escapism. Purely because it was like a family making the movie. We got on very well, and we felt there was more of a story for the characters to go on. And so we sat down, and we've actually planned another film as well already. Sequels, I don't like calling it a sequel, I like to call it a continuation, is difficult because people want more of what they had from the first film, but if you give them too much of what they had, then they complain that you've given them a lot of what was in the first film. And I decided the best way to do the sequel is to continue the character's story. So whatever journey the characters need to go on, then it's okay. For me, it gave me a reason to make the movie. To answer where it comes from in my mind, I have no idea. But I was thinking, the only thing I wanted to repeat in the villain was, I loved the fact when we did Valentine, his complaint about the world, the global warming, was real. You couldn't, his solution was terrible, but he identified a problem. So that was the only rule I did apply, thinking what could the villain talk about that was relevant to us. So whether drugs should be legalized or not, I don't care who you are, you're going to have an opinion of it. And you don't, you should. And then I weirdly in my mind, I was sort of imagined a villain that was a cross, you might not know who these people are, but I was thinking it's a cross between Margaret Thatcher and Martha Stewart, who is, and I don't know where it came from, but that's how it began in my mind. And then I wrote the hamburger scene as a way of introducing her. And then I sort of fell in love with the idea of I mean, I do find women fascinating, how they can be very beautiful and fluffy and sweet, but at the same time unbelievably strong and just, I'd like the idea of someone looking very feminine, but on the inside, the strongest person in the film. Believe it or not, I do not like violent films, right? I really don't. So, my inspiration for the violence is Tom and Jerry. So when I look at Tom and Jerry cartoons, they are unbelievably violent, but they're beautifully choreographed and they're very funny. And that's how I look at the violence and the action, is tell a story, make people laugh, make people go, oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But I'd be tempted, maybe one day I'll take one of my scenes, change the music, put in a lot of blood and gore, and let people go, oh my God, that is violence. So I genuinely don't like violence, but I don't mind comedy violence. So it's meant to be more of, I feel silly saying it, but Tom and Jerry. Depends on the actor. It really does depend on the actor. The cab sequence was virtually all the guys, and they made big mistakes. I mean, poor, Taron got punched really hard twice, which one of them's in when Charlie punches him in the glasses go like that, and in the cab, that was real, and thank God it was in focus. There's a balance, because you look at Tom Cruise, who does virtually everything himself, and the poor guy has now broken his ankle, and there's a sort of there's a wish. Some actors want to do it all, and it's great because it's quite exciting to have an actor that is that committed. There are other actors who go, oh, let the stuntman do it, and you can just tell when it's so. Because I think even when you're doing a stunt, you're still telling a story and you're still performing. Punching someone is just as much as important as delivering a line, and so I encourage the actors, as long as it's safe, to do it as much themselves, and as long as they're not total wimps. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, no, ask them. They will bitch and complain. No, we do like 3 months. That action, you don't make it up on the day. You don't make up the camera movement. You don't make up the choreography. It's all, we do everything with the act. Well, actually, first of all, we do everything with stunt guys on video. And then they learn every move, and we cut, and I tell them until I can replace every shot on the video, they haven't learned the sequence. Very tough. I mean, basically, I'm a huge Prince fan, and when we were filming, I was just gutted when he died. And originally that whole scene we shot it to be 10 terrible songs. It was meant to be Eggsy's bad music taste, and then we saw Deadpool, which did the same thing of changing during a fight, so in a car. So I thought, okay, we can't do that. It would be too, it looked like we're too generic suddenly. And because of Prince had died, I was just listening to his music, and I thought, God, this would really fit. And it had 3 sections to the song, which I knew I could cut basically perfectly into the sequence. And then I rang up Warner's and said, look, I know Prince doesn't normally clear anything. What's going to happen? And they saw the scene, and they went, you know what? We feel for the first Prince song, this should be he would be proud of this. So they gave it to us. All right. It sounds crazy, but because it's so English, I'll be Agent Sherry.